We got a good one today, guys. So we have Garron Noone on Newstalk Radio. I don't know how Garron actually agreed to go on Newstalk, but Kieran Cuckoldry, of course, interviewing him. No doubt this is obviously a bought and paid for interview. Not by Garron. I actually think Garron's a good guy. Okay, funny guy. He did backpedal a little bit with his sort of, immigration video. I think a little bit. I think he's, he can't say too much, that's fair enough, guys. You got to play the game a little bit. We're playing a different game, obviously, on the internet, on YouTube, but this one's going to be interesting to see. Much love to everyone. And the last Garron video, that one blew up. That one just went crazy. I think I got like 26,000 views, something wild, so I really appreciate that. Hopefully we run this one up as well. And let's critique some of what the hell is going on in this video. So like, comment, subscribe, and let's hear it.
How do I introduce you? For people who like, Garron Noone, what?
I like using influencer just because it annoys people so much. Everybody hates that word. So I go around telling people I'm an influencer now.
All right, so get your texts in, folks. Start deriding Garron for his influencing ways. But what's the... Of all the different kind of hats you wear, what's the thing you're most interested in? Is it musician? Is that what you kind of see yourself as?
I mean, yeah, I suppose I'm interested in everything I do. Like, I suppose the thing I'm most known for is shouting at cups of tea and stuff on the internet.
That's true, yeah.
And I think that's a noble endeavour. I don't want to put it down. I'm kind of...
Man, this guy should be on the radio. He should be like a big time character in Ireland, guys. Like Kieran Cuckoldry, your man that runs the Late Late Show. Like, they're all shy. They're not even funny. They're just shit, bro. They're just shy. Like, Garron should run everything along with a few other people. Your man Alan. Can't remember his last name, but Alan something from Mayo as well. The two of them lads together, a few other guys, your man from the Hardy Bucks, Owen Colgan as well. Like, there's loads of lads that are so funny, man, and they should be mainstream, big time guys, and they're putting this shit Kieran on the radio. Oh man, they're losing flipping money, man, doing that.
I'm interested in everything. I kind of like that because I used to play the pubs and stuff like that a lot, so I was gigging a lot. So now I do less gigs. I do more shouting at cups of tea, and I'm kind of happy. I'm very lucky.
How did the shouting at cups of tea come about?
I started reviewing cereal about 3 years ago. I got a cereal. I've told the story a couple of times, but I got a cereal, a new Cocoa Pop that came out. I wanted to review it, and then people started sending me cereal to review, and I just kept making videos. And
in the whole history of internet marketing, it's never been this easy to get clients.
The best cereal, of course, in the world is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I believe. That is the best cereal in the world.
Crack. What was there a kind of a breakthrough moment now that you look back on? Something that went viral?
Not particularly. I never had like a huge viral video. It was just slow growth over time. The first video I ever had that like got lots of views, like maybe over 1 million views, was me talking about my Irish Chinese takeaway. Which absolutely fascinates Americans, and I got a lot of criticism in the comments because it wasn't very cultural, but they enjoyed it.
I've never had a spice bag in my entire life. I don't think I've had a 4-in-1, but I've never had a spice bag, I don't think I've never had a 4-in-1. I don't eat Irish Chinese fast food like from like Xi'an and all that type of shit. I don't eat that stuff, lads. I eat McDonald's a lot though. Fucking last night I had McDonald's, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chinese food. Like, it's kind of shit, lads.
So that was probably the first big video I had.
Was there a moment though that you look back on and maybe then it wasn't that breakthrough moment, but that made you kind of stop in your tracks? I mentioned earlier, when you were coming on, that Stevie Nicks kind of gave you a shout out on stage, for example. There's something like that you saw. I don't know, maybe it was somebody who shared a video, somebody who gave out about your cultural appropriation, but they just happened to be a famous person.
I don't know that it really happens like that. I think like the thing that builds your followers or whatever is really just being consistent. I never really seen a big bump for anything like that. I suppose the biggest thing that 100%. Happened was when I started saying I'm delicious, then more people started following me. So
how often do people shout at you I'm delicious? On a daily basis?
On a daily basis, probably 50, I'd say.
Oh, no way.
I get it a lot. And
shit,
it's, when I say that, I think people are probably saying, oh, I'm so popular. I'd say most of those people hate me. They just want to shout it at me.
Are there days where you're having a bad day and you just shout back at them?
So
would you ever F off?
No, I always pretend to be nice. People have been very nice. I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky in that respect.
But
me neither. Never had a bad experience in public ever. It's great.
Are you conscious now of how recognizable you are? You know, the thing of let's be honest, you cannot pick your nose in public anymore.
We're kind of at the point now where if I go outside, I'll be recognised almost immediately. A part of that is just because of my formidable size. I think you can spot me from about a kilometre away. And I've done absolutely nothing to make myself stick out less. I couldn't stick out more, to be honest. But it's, everybody's very nice. It was a lot to adjust to. But I've never had anything negative, so I suppose I can't complain.
And then how do you cope with that level of notoriety? Because I know you've spoken before, say, about when you were in school, when you were a teenager, and the agoraphobia and not leaving the house. Yeah. And this seems just so far down.
Garron seems like Eminem. Eminem used to have that. He used to rap about that. He used to say like, "Oh, I can't leave the gaff, can't leave the house for months on end." And shit. It's actually gas.
The other end of the spectrum. That when you leave the house, everybody knows who you are.
Yeah. Listen, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't times where it was difficult. So there have been times where, maybe I wasn't feeling the best of myself, and that sort of added thing of knowing that people are going to come up to me, has maybe made me stay in for a couple of days or something like that. But, I think that comes up for everybody, and it's like anything, it just becomes sort of just a part of your life. And people are nice. I mean, if people were being really nasty, it would be more of a problem. But most of the time, it's Garron, the videos are good, or they'll just say hello or whatever. So,
is that something that we lose sight of the more time we spend in the digital realm? Do we kind of forget the fact that actually fundamentally most people are just decent?
Everybody is. Like the number of people who want to do bad is very, very small. Most people there's this kind of perception that the general public are stupid and they're all this and they're all that. Almost everybody is smart, well-intentioned, and just wants the best for everybody, and that's been my experience. And nothing has taught me more that than the amount of exposure I have to people now.
Did that faith in people, did it wobble back in March when you had your kind of brief period of cancellation?
No, I mean there was a small group of people who maybe sort of deliberately mistook what I said and tried to make it look a lot worse than it was.
Who's that? Who did that? Huh? Who did that? I think that we were just kind of going off his videos. I think that nobody had ill intentions. I know I certainly didn't. I was just reacting to the videos. I thought it was kind of funny to see, Garron and McGregor, kind of talking about the White House, St. Patrick's Day, and then, of course, Garron Noone said that not that he supported McGregor, of course he was against McGregor, but he said that he supported the idea of that this sort of like, immigration isn't handled the best way. Like in other countries in the Middle East, they have 90% immigration, but they give their citizens 50,000 euro a year, they give them houses. The citizens and the people of that region are treated very well. In Ireland, it's the exact opposite. They put everybody else before Ireland. It's bullshit, guys. You can't be doing that, man.
There were a number of people that had a disagreement. Most people understood what I was saying, and whether they agreed or disagreed, were fine about it.
Yeah, so this was Conor McGregor had been in the White House, and obviously we talked about it on this show. Everyone talked about it. The whole world was talking about it.
Yeah, Kieran Cuckoldry, you don't like that McGregor's going to become president, okay? Vote McGregor.
It was shocking to me how many people talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. And you commented, and it's funny, I would wager an awful lot of the people who expressed outrage didn't actually listen to what you said or read it, because you were quite...
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. We all heard what Garron Noone said. It's just that he kind of had to backpedal a little bit, which is understandable. So I wouldn't backpedal, personally, but he has a reputation to uphold. In certain ways he has to make money. I get it, you know what I mean? But I think it's, a little bit lame, in my opinion. But we saw the video. The video that Garron Noone put up was only 1.5 minutes long, or 2 minutes long, or something like that. The third one, or the second or third one he put up, was like 10 minutes long. So I reacted to all of them, but the message was plain and simple for everyone to hear. So Kieran is an idiot.
Clear to criticize Conor McGregor in it. And you went out of your way to make the point that this wasn't an anti-immigrant thing, but it was just about a sense of, well, how would you describe it?
See, he can't even describe. See how he said a sense of, oh, well, how would you describe it? Like, he can't even agree with him because he knows that he is correct, but he doesn't want to say it publicly. Like, Yeah, there's too many goddamn, centers where the EU is bringing people in, like this human trafficking bullshit. Like I said before, if you're coming here to become a brain surgeon, an engineer, doctor, one of these guys, you want to help fill these roles here. Yeah, we have working roles, working permits, that's okay. I would shut everything down for a few years, try and analyze the situation in Ireland, make sure people are here, checks and balances for people, do an audit of who's in the country, and then we can kind of slowly make sure that the Irish culture is not being eroded. But now it's just a free-for-all. It is a complete free-for-all, okay? When you handle immigration, it has to be done very, very, very diligently, immigration. You can't just have a free-for-all, or else the country turns into a shit show.
The sense that exists in some communities in Ireland that you were trying to express.
Yeah, I think, the primary point of the video was about, if we're not hearing people out with the difficulties that we're having, we're creating an environment where somebody who's badly intentioned can come in, tell people everything they want to hear, and dominate that conversation and make things sound worse than they are. Whereas if we're more willing to take the middle ground with people, with their concerns and stuff like that, I think we stop people from going down that path. That was...
In Gaza, 2.1 million people are on the brink of famine.
It's a bit of a strange reasoning,
The actual message of the video. There were some things that I said in the video that I think they could have been better worded, and I said that afterwards. And I didn't expect it to get as much of attention as it did, and I'm fine with people criticizing me saying things poorly, or that I should have been less clumsy in my delivery. I think that's completely reasonable. There was another group of people who, Twitter people, who took loads of things out of context, twisted it, and then I think a lot of people started making videos having never even watched my video. They had just watched somebody else's dissection of what they believed I had said. And
I didn't do that. I reacted to exactly his video. That was one that kind of popped off. But it's funny that he says that, people on Twitter mistook what he was saying. I think that it's kind of hard to miscontextualize what he was saying. It's pretty clear context what he was saying, guys.
A lot of people started making videos having never even watched my video. They had just watched somebody else's dissection of what they believed I had said. And that's where a lot of the drama took off from.
And what was the...
So I caused a lot of drama, did I? A lot of people watched my dissection and they went crazy. The dissection was plain and simple. I think I did a pretty good dissection of the video. Go back and check it out. I think it was pretty perfect.
The moment you realised that trouble was brewing?
It was I didn't really go into too much about the negative effects of it because I didn't want to make it all about me, but there was, people were starting to contact, things to do with my work, telling them that I was basically every bad thing a person can be. I believe this, I believe that, things that are the opposite of what I believe. And I was getting just hundreds of messages of people quoting things I'd never said, linking me with people I don't want to be associated with, and I said, okay, I need to take a couple of days off from this.
There you go. Bingo. They were messaging his work. This is what the left loonies, this woke left, liberal, Marxist, DEI, woke people, this is what they do. When you slip up, do something wrong, okay, or say something that's not, right, or to them, okay. Let's say you say something that's far right or more conservative. You say something about Trump, McGregor, whatever, Russell Brand now, Tate. You say something about these people. What they do is they immediately try and find out where you work, and they message them, they email you, your employee is a far-right lunatic, and they try and get you fired. Could you imagine how much of a loser you have to be to go to somebody's workplace and try and get you fired? Oh my God. Insane. This is the liberal woke mob. This is crazy.
Okay, I need to take a couple of days off from this for my own self, because I couldn't stop looking at it. I was like, listen, I can't reply to this when I'm in an emotional state where I've got all this coming at me. I'm going to take a couple of days, think about it, and then come back to it. What I didn't expect was how much worse that was going to make everything, or how much bigger that was going to make everything. So
taking time off was not the correct thing to do. I would have just kept going. Like, you never stop, you never quit, you never give up.
And then obviously everybody started talking about it, and that was that for a couple of days until I came back.
Yeah, it's funny because you won't be surprised to hear, like, we were having conversations just here amongst each other, because it was the big talking point for a lot of people, and I don't know if you didn't want it to be, but it was. And I remember saying to somebody here that I said, I think Garron was in bother when some of those Twitter people, say, who do hold those kind of awful views that you don't hold, were kind of claiming you as one of them. They were like, you know what I mean? When I saw that,
he said one conservative point, and then the mainstream media got very upset about it. Plain and simple. Okay, he has conservative points. Not everything that I believe is more conservative. I'm mostly, a lot of my points are libertarian, guys. Very let people live, let people do what they want. But I am conservative in some aspects. You know what I mean? So you're gonna be across the political compass. Not everything is gonna be either left or right. That's not how life is, guys. It's not black and white. It's gray, little gray areas. Okay, what does this guy think? He doesn't believe that the country is being handled correctly with immigration. Hey, hello, if you go to any liberal county or place, pub in any of the West or the North, Dublin or wherever, everybody agrees with that. Nobody thinks that the immigration is being handled properly here. Even the people from that I talked to, all my friends, African friends, my Middle Eastern friends, my flipping Asian friends, from China, everyone agrees that it's not handled correctly. I have friends from Pakistan, India, they all agree that it's handled like a shit show in Ireland. Plain and simple. It's only the woke mainstream media that try and push the narrative that we're all far right and crazy. Come on.
I was like, oh, that's problematic for him, because other people will see that as well. They were like, yes, Garron's one of us. I knew it.
Yeah, I think what actually happened there is, I say some people try to sort of perpetuate that these were the people who were supporting me. It was, these extremely far right people. Most people.
Garron, you didn't just say that. Oh, Garron, we all love you. Please don't say far right, extreme far right people. I mean, maybe there's like one or two in Ireland, but I most certainly am not that, guys. I know most people aren't that. They're just not happy with the government situation. Oh man.
Who were reasonable, understood what I was saying, and didn't take anything extreme from it because it wasn't meant. And then a couple of opportunists who jump on everything that happens to try and come up with examples of, look how crazy people who disagree with us are. They jumped on it and they made a big thing out. They probably didn't even watch the video. They don't know who I am. They don't even know what I said. But, these things happen, and listen, I wasn't thrilled to have Tristan Tate talking about me.
Oh, yeah. That was legendary. You had, like, the Tate brothers and shit. That was so funny.
But the people jump on things, they use it for their own benefit, and I have to accept, if I'm going to put out things out there, that might happen to me. So.
Does it make you more reluctant to do it in the future?
No, not really. I mean, I think if I have something of use to say, and I think the message that I was trying to give in that video is, I stand by what I said. I think it's an important thing to say. And I think the message that I was trying to give in that video is, I stand by what I said. I think it's an important thing to say that, people are coming in and taking advantage of what people feel isn't being heard, and if we don't accept that and have a look at it, I think those things will get worse. They were kind
of proving your point by hounding you out of it. Some of them,
listen, a lot of people say I was cancelled or whatever. I don't want to say that people took it that far, but you
kind of cancelled yourself, did you, for a couple of days, and then the narrative became in your absence.
I don't think it was a cancel. I think what I did was perfectly healthy. It's just it's just a strange thing for somebody with a big account to do. But I think a normal person would have done the same thing. Like with just their personal account with their dogs on it or whatever. But because I put videos up that occasionally people watch, it was an unusual thing. But I think it was something I should have done.
Yeah.
But
the narrative became, in your absence, oh my God, they've chased him off everything, and he's been cancelled.
I mean, the reason I left was because of the level of out of hand it was getting, and the way that people were talking about it was so extreme, and I wasn't in a mindset where I was going to be looking at that, and I didn't really know how to move forward. So, but I do think it was a mistake on those people's parts to make out like what I was saying was this extreme thing. I think it makes them look reactionary, and I don't genuinely think most people who disagreed with me had this tremendously reactionary thing. They were like, I don't know about that. Oh, maybe you should have phrased that differently. That's fine. But the people who went off the deep end, I think, didn't do any help to their own cause.
And tell me then about the headspace you found yourself in you know, when you'd made that decision, I cannot be dealing with this. I need a couple of days of space.
Yeah.
Like, how difficult was all of that?
Listen, I don't want to whinge about it, but like listen, it was stressful. Like everybody was talking about it, and it's, you know, the grand majority of people thought that I'm a reasonable person. No, I don't have any hate in me for anyone or anything like that.
Of course.
But when you're seeing it everywhere, when everybody's talking about it, you don't know how that's going to go. I felt like I was going to walk outside and people were going to start shouting at me about me being all these awful things people were saying I was going to be.
Yeah.
So I didn't leave the house for a week after that. I didn't sleep.
I told you. The stress that social media can cause. I called it. I said, I bet this guy hasn't left his house for a week, for at least 5 days, because he had agoraphobia. He had that sort of thing where he couldn't leave the house. He had panic attacks for 5 years. He didn't leave his house for 5 years. I said, I literally called it, guys. That's crazy.
Much while I was gone, and look, I've learned from that. I know what might come if I say something in the future, and that's life, and I've accepted that as part of what I'm doing. So,
but then when you did leave the house at the end of that week, what probably happened was somebody just shouted, "Oh, Garron, I'm delicious!"
Yeah,
and life kind of went on.
I mean, for the supposedly shocking things that I'm supposed to have said, I haven't heard from anybody about it. Nobody has come to me and said you said. Nobody has said it. All I've heard is, "Oh, Garron, how are you getting on?" It hasn't been spoken about to me.
Yeah, because the people love him even more because he was speaking absolutely correctly, you know.
Sense.
So what have you learned from the whole experience?
I think
this Kieran Cudley guy is such a moron. He's like, what is this, a group therapy session? Like, relax, man. Like, you're not a therapist. What have you learned from these? Like, he's just like, the guy's a legend. I don't know why he even came on Newstalk, man. Some bullshit.
That if I say something, there is a danger that it will. I
don't know how it backfired. The guy's a legend.
It will be something lots of people see, and in that I need to be extremely careful about how I choose my words. I don't think what I said in the first video was bad, but I think I phrased it in a way that was too open for people to jump on it. And I think now I know, you know, I have to be incredibly specific about exactly what I mean. And
do you ever resent that? Do you ever think, I wanted to just make videos of me shouting at cups of tea and make music?
I think I can still do that. I think on most things I can still say basically whatever I want. But if I'm going to talk about something that I know is contentious, then I have to be very specific.
That's kind of culture war space.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people using my words in a way that I wouldn't want them used. And that's ultimately on me. I have to.
I mean, this is what the mainstream do now. They use these hit pieces, you know, like flipping. I mean, even Newstalk ran an article saying that he was far right. Newstalk were hating on him. They were saying that he was saying all these crazy shit when he wasn't. So, Newstalk are scumbags. Absolutely.
Be extremely careful to make sure that people can't use my words and for an objective I don't agree with.
And you know, you said people were kind of reaching out then. In terms of business interests or gigs you had coming up, and saying to people who were working with you, you know, oh, do you know a fusey holes, and misrepresenting you. Was there any actual blowback on that front, or did you find that actually the people who you do work with knew you and were just like, I get lost?
Yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of sponsors. I lost pretty much everything I had at that point, rather than maybe a couple that stayed with me. But
holy shit! Did you guys hear that? I didn't know that at all, man. Jesus Christ, he lost all his sponsors. Man, that dude, Garron is a legend, man. That is some integrity. Holy shit. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that at all. That is just insane. Holy shit. He lost all his sponsors. Oh, man, the sponsors are just scumbag piece of shit, man. You know what I mean? I wish Garron makes all the money back and more, you know?
Eventually, you know, people realised that I wasn't saying the things that people were making out of.
Are you back now where you were then, or is there still? Would you still say there's a financial loss to this day?
Things have returned to normal now. Pretty much, people are coming back to me as normal. I'm working with people as normal.
Nice.
People don't know. You know, people are looking at what other people's interpretation of what I might have said was, and they're playing it safe, and that's completely on them, and they should do that. But I think people have realised since he didn't say anything that extreme. A lot of people took it out of context. Maybe I said a couple of things that could have been phrased better, and that's not really.
There's some really
a few. You know, what's that quote from Robert Greene's book, the 48 laws of power. You know, it's a lifetime to build a reputation, but it only takes a second to destroy it, guys. So be very careful. You know, but I don't think he could have been even more careful. What he said was correct. You know, the mainstream are bastards. They try and lambast this guy because he's a legend. Everybody loves him. I would have just doubled down, because people would have loved him even more if he said that, if he just kept going.
Really nice text coming in. Can I just say, Garron is the most beaming ray of sunshine, and his videos bring a smile to my face every single day. Never mind the keyboard warriors, Garron, and stay delicious. Somebody else says, my dad passed away last September, and I laugh because my sister and nephew in Manchester put me onto Garron, so I'm a recent convert. Why are you not better known for that voice? Boy, can you sing and make mirth aplenty. Keep up the great work. See you in Castlebar. But you want my favourite one so far? From Kathy. Himself loves Garron, but nothing personal. He drives me mad.
Well, thank you.
Best of luck, Garron. But if he could see to blocking my husband, I'd really appreciate it. And that's from Kathy.
I respect that.
Oh, the women love him, and I bet the women think he's delicious as well, guys. I bet he's getting sucked off right now talking about getting delicious. Oh man, I bet this guy is back. I bet he is just nailing all the women fucking in Dublin. This man must be just nailing women, just hose on hose. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I respect
Kathy,
the honesty.
We'll pass on the details, and Garron may be able to help you out there. Bit of peace and quiet. Have you got anything coming up?
Yeah, I've got gigs coming up in Killarney, Kilkenny, Dublin, Belfast. They're sold out, but there are tickets available for Killarney, Kilkenny, Mayo.
All right.
Still, so, yeah.
Listen, it's been a real pleasure, Garron. Thanks a million for coming into us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
really
appreciate it.
Absolute legend. Newstalk can go to hell. And yeah, things have returned to normal. March was insane. That was one of the biggest months for me as well. That was a fucking crazy month. So I really appreciate all the support. Much love to everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, delicious man. And this is the funny thing about it, guys. People love to take shit out of context. Okay, so don't take anything I say out of context, because I do not want to get cancelled. Well, actually, I don't give a shit, but at this point, who gives a shit? Might cancel me. I'll love you all, and I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Peace. Oh, if you want to support my channel as well, hit the join link underneath the video. Buy some of my merch. My new merch, it says I actually have it coming in the post. Mainstream media is dead. And now I'll see you in the next one. Peace.